And I saw the souls of those who'd been beheaded. Now be careful with that word soul. It doesn't mean an immortal soul, an invisible part of man. You can't behead invisible souls. These are souls of people who'd been beheaded. That simply in plain English means those persons who, the word soul, nephesh in Hebrew, psyche in modern Greek, is simply a person, a human person, who had been beheaded because of the testimony of Jesus, his witness of the gospel of the kingdom, what Jesus preached to the world, and because of the Word of God. Word of God is virtually a synonym for the gospel here, not just generally the Bible. Yes, you have the words of God in the Bible, but the Word of God is the technical term in the New Testament for the gospel about the kingdom and the things concerning Jesus. And then he saw also those who had not worshipped the beast or his image, had not received the mark of the beast on their forehead and on their hand. And these people came to life and began to reign as kings with Messiah for 1,000 years. This is an extraordinary new world that I hope you're gaining a vision of, where the devil will have been bound so he cannot deceive the nations a moment longer, and the saints are going to be resurrected. This is called the first resurrection. That's what it says this event is. And you're very, very much to be commended, praised, congratulated if you take part in this first resurrection. I note in verse 5 a critically important verse. The remainder of the dead, that's to say, all the others apart from these saints, these true saints of God, do not come to life in resurrection at this point. They're going to come to life only in the second resurrection, which, as you're going to read, will happen 1,000 years later. So that's most important. This is classical premillennialism. It really is considerable nonsense to say that you, as a Christian, are now ruling the world with Messiah. You're not. It really is a considerable nonsense to say that the devil is not deceiving the whole world right now, when in 1 John 5:19 he's said to be deceiving the entire world at the present time. So the remainder of the dead, verse 5, I say this to our Jehovah's Witnesses friends. So this event that's described there in 1 through 4 is called the first anastasis, resurrection. Resurrection in the Bible means coming to life from death, from literal death, from the sleep of the dead to actual life. This is a tremendously exciting prospect, the first resurrection. Look what John then says, what Jesus through John says in verse 6, blessed, to be congratulated, to be praised and considered holy is the person who has a part in this first resurrection. Over those persons the second death will have no power, but they will be priests of God and of Messiah and will reign as kings with him for 1,000 years. Now please don't say, well, these are only martyred people. That would be quite untrue. No need to split the church into two groups. Yes, the martyrs are very special. They died for the faith, and they are certainly part of this. But John didn't just see martyrs. He saw those, in verse 4, who had not worshipped the beast, had not succumbed then to this false system, the beast power of chapter 13, which will be reigning with power just prior to the second coming of Jesus, and which Jesus will destroy at his parousia. So there you have the premillennial, as to say just before the 1,000-year reign of Jesus, Jesus' second coming in power. And the purpose of that is to raise the dead from literal death, to make them come alive again, and not to be inactive, of course, but to rule and reign with Messiah for the 1,000-year period.